Time has arrived. We are broadcasting raw live from my ass. Boom, boom. I'd rather watch two old women slap my ass. Woo! That's as tough as a chunk of my ass. Here comes the biggest ass. The big man is back. Jim Ross, 350 pounds here. Say hello to my ass. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest spectacle on earth, my ass. 30 men will enter my ass. You know what I mean. The most important thing to a tag team is my ass.
I totally agree with you, JR.
Here you go, King. Kiss my ass.
I wish you would jump on top of me, JR.
It disgusts me to see my ass. My daughter's nursery rhymes are more aggressive than this.
I can't help but look at the butt, JR.
What? This is making me sick. Is it over? No, not yet. Referee Earl Hebner is always in my ass. That's a little weird. Transmission. He's got a first-class ticket to my ass. Executioner. Here comes Maven. Raven. What? Jim Ross. Now, let's not give anyone some bad ideas. There's going to be plenty of turbulence in my ass. Booker T is an idiot. It's not the rock bottom. It's my ass.
Are you serious?
The poison has now been injected into my ass. This is not right, King. The poison is not going to stop until they wipe my ass. I can think of about 7,000 or 8,000 things I'd rather have in my ass.
I don't even care anymore.
Look at the confident expression on my ass. The fat lady's singing now. He's only got one thing on his mind, and it's my ass. My granny is the most feared object of pain. Everyone, don't forget to visit myass.com for great WWE products. Oh, yeah. Didn't see that coming. It's about as effective as a one-legged man in my ass. Like taking candy from a baby.
I'm gonna tell you the truth right now. I've known JR for 20 years, and he don't give a damn about the fans. He's a glory hound, and he just doesn't want to hang it up. He doesn't want to admit that his days are over. Oh! Boom shakalaka! Boom shakalaka! Boom! Boom shakalaka! Boom shakalaka! Boom shakalaka! Boom shakalaka!
Old school. The big man is back. Anyway, I have some news here for you. Kiss my ass.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I realized that I had the fucking dial on my microphone turned down. But yeah, the song in the back, that's the man that just retired this Saturday. That's yeah. Yeah, I'm still listening to this. Alright, there. But hello. Hope everyone out in chat world is doing alright. Actually, I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. It's just, I've been alright. I've just haven't really been feeling it. Personally, just as far as like stream goes, like nothing like burnout wise, it's just like I've just kind of haven't really been in the mood, to be honest. But I've been wanting to do this for a little bit, you know, just because I do Bonfire nights after like every convention I go to, so it's like, well, except Mitsuri this year, I think. But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's just kind of where I've been at. Also, another thing that I started doing since last time I streamed was I started selling stuff on eBay, and I have made almost 10 sales so far, and I've only had stuff up for 4 days, so I'm happy about that. I've made getting upwards to $200 off of those sales. So that's a little thing for me. Actually, just made another sale as I started stream. Something I'm gonna take care of tomorrow. I gotta run to the post office. But anyway, yes. So as I mentioned earlier, I went to a convention 2 weekends ago. I went with Biggie and Doyless, and this was Doylus's first actual convention experience that he's done. So I was happy for him on that front because I know he'd been wanting to do one for a while. It just hasn't for different reasons. But I feel like as much like while I enjoyed myself, this was probably okay. So before, I don't think did I say okay? I went to GalaxyCon, and this year was my 4th one. While I personally enjoyed myself, I think if we're looking at this objectively from just based off of everything else that happened over the weekend, this was the worst Galaxy, at least in my city. And Galaxy has been in my city for about 4 years, so when they started coming to my city, I've been there every single year. Just because they came right at the time as I started going to conventions. And in that time, the convention has actually brought in like a really hefty amount of money for the city, and it's part of why they keep coming back. And I have had like fun to varying degrees every year, but looking at it from just based off of how the convention itself was run, this objectively was the worst year. And if I'm being blunt, I wouldn't be surprised if the convention had a lesser turnout next year, or if it just didn't show up at all, which would suck, obviously. Because like I've enjoyed it every time. I've had good experiences for me personally. I know there are some other people that felt otherwise, and we're gonna get to that. Because there are like some very legitimate and actually kind of illegal reasons as to why this was the worst of the 4 that they've been doing in my town. Oh, hold on, sorry, Ghostbuster, this is important.
I break your door in, I sneak in the basement. It is my home now, but you never find out. Because I am sneaky, I am the rat man. I go up at night and eat your cheese! Ah! But one day you find out there is a rat man inside the basement, and you call the cops, but the cops don't take it seriously, so you call the Ghostbusters instead! The Ghostbusters are ill-equipped. They only have ghost-busting weapons, but they should have brought a shotgun. But I have a gun, so I kill them instead. Oh no, it's murder.
Thank you for understanding. Anyways, so kind of starting back. So Galaxy, the best way I can describe it is it's like a smaller version of Comic-Con. It's a big pop culture convention, essentially. Got like a wide array of different crap. Like you got your comic book stuff, you've got like all of your anime, just other general animation, other bigger movies. You've also got your wrestling, which you know me well enough, though I gravitate towards that stuff. But I think Galaxy has had like a good array of stuff going for it, like as far as like the celebrities that they get to attend, the vendors and other like stuff in the dealer's room, I think have some really good shit. Even though it's like there are some people that you see them at every convention, Like, there was one booth that was there that I remember seeing at Evo. Like, they had, like, little... They had these, little, like, characters that were basically in the style of the Capcom vs. SNK 2 character select. With the, like, yellow squares with the black shit. But... Jesus Christ, I feel like I did not come to this stream prepared to talk. Also, I'm in the middle of like a text conversation with another friend of mine. But anyways, but I will say like another thing about Galaxy, and this is also like this is one of the first things that kind of suck about it. It's a pretty expensive convention. So, the way I remember it, I think a full weekend, when I first started going, was like $90, which is like, okay. I think it's maybe a little bit more, or maybe like just at the average of like, you know, if you're buying it then, like this is what it would cost for the full weekend. But the last 2 years that I've done it, so this year and last year, a full weekend costs $115. And I think even a 2-day pass is still like just breaking over 100. Or it's where it is from where the weekend used to be. So like 90 maybe potentially. Also, hello Jet. I shall stretch. Just give me a second while I try to get my thoughts. I heard a bone crack. Oh, you hear that one? Ah, there we go. That feels good. Anyways. So, I just start at the beginning. So I remember, I guess we can kind of talk about this because right before, and this is like another school thing, I remember before I went to the convention because I still had class. It's just like, it's, you know, fuck it. I'm just gonna tell a story. So we had like final presentations for our big kind of just project, which was just basically come up with like a fake movie idea and pitch it to us. And I presented that day, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What we are actually here to talk about was the first presenter that went up. It was like, so the idea of the project was we're all assigned a genre of movie, and we basically have to make like a fake movie pitch for it. And there were like some requirements in there, like for example, you had to have a hero's journey mapped out. You needed characters that basically covered all 8 character archetypes that we went over in class. You needed a poster for it, which could be like hand-drawn, digitally created, and this was also like the one instance where the professor actually allowed the use of AI, which I did use to create my poster, and also some of the characters, you know, just because I had fantasy, so I think it was just a little easier on that front. And I just because this was like the one time that she said we could use it for like just for the characters, as far as like their designs and shit. Anyways, our first person had a romance, and her thing was called Leading the Stars. And this was the most batshit insane pitch I think I've ever heard in my life. It was something that bordered on, like, so bad it's good. Where it's about this one high school kid. She's a cheerleader. She gets injured. But not only does she get injured, she also gets an unwanted pregnancy. And she also gets accused of murder. So the story essentially follows her trying to navigate through all of that shit. And also, the thing that, okay, first of all, yes, yeah, I was actually the main character. They actually made this movie. Anyways, so, before, like, moving on, the unwanted pregnancy thing at, like, her age wasn't what turned me off, just because, like, you know, Juno is a movie that exists. I haven't seen it, but it's like, I know, like, that topic has been covered before in film. Also, like, I like the idea of, like, you know, a high school kid gets accused of murder, and it's like, okay, we can see how her dynamics with her friends change, with her teachers, and just, you know, trying to navigate through that to clear her name. The thing that really turned me off from this pitch was the fact that all of the other main characters are, like, sex addicts. And keep in mind that these are supposed to be, like, these are all, like, high school kids. Like, seniors. Like, 17, 18. So, yeah, like, some of them, I guess, some of them would be, like, legally adults, but it's also, like, you're still in fucking high school. And you're basically, like, a sex fiend. And it's, the way she explains shit is, like, zero awareness to how some of the, like, how some of this shit, like, would actually sound or look on camera. And now this was, I will say, this was not something that I actually stayed for the entirety of because I had to use the bathroom, but I'm really upset that I did end up using the bathroom at that time because that was, like, an entire pitch I needed to hear. But I heard it was bad. Like, there were, like, people were, like, laughing during it. That's how bad it was. Like, it's just, like, the clear, like, lack of self-awareness, or just any, like, awareness to the thing that you're presenting, I would say is, like, astonishing, but considering the person that was presenting, who was a bit of, like, a head in the clouds kind of person, it kind of makes it less surprising, if I'm being completely honest. Just not paying attention to a damn thing, asking stupid questions and shit. I will say, the professor did say, like, if you, like, pitch this to Lifetime, maybe you could get something rolling with it. But I think, like, everybody knows, like, everyone in that room knows that, like, this shit sucks ass, bro. Like, people weren't laughing. Like, this is, like, how poorly thought out this pitch was. And just, like, other, like, comments she would make is just, like, dude, I can't take this seriously. Imagine that actually appears on Hallmark. I almost kind of hope that movie gets made just because I want to be able to watch it and laugh at it. it's stuff like this is why, like, some people, like, should not be creative or, like, be in that kind of business, you know? Because that's just fucking embarrassing. No, 100%. That movie would actually... That movie would... Oh, that would be a movie, like, Critical would make a video about. I feel like that movie would just be, like, so utterly offensive in, like, every way you could come up with on the top of your head. It's just... It was genuinely kind of embarrassing to listen to. So I'm like, you're like a fucking third year, bro. You're like a full-fledged adult now. How the fuck did you come up with this? But anyway, enough about that. So after I got done listening to that monstrosity, I actually went down straight to the convention center because I can just do that. My campus is like $5 from downtown where it is, and I basically just hung there for I think like 2 hours. And I ran into my brother basically first thing. And then we just talked about all the stuff that we wanted to do. We ran into each other actually like a lot the first 2 days. I think I only saw him once on the Sunday. Jesus Christ, I am so scatterbrained right now. Because like I'm trying to think I'm trying to remember all the shit I did. So I guess I can start. So I guess I get a good starting place. So we talk about the celebrities that I met because GalaxyCon has no shortage of those. So first up, I will talk because actually Jet, because you're here, I'll tell this story again. So anybody who has like kind of kept up with at least if you've seen one of the WrestleMania watch parties that we did, where at least when Carlito was still signed with WWE, we were like constantly doing impressions of him during that, and we would also just do that during our general watch parties in the server that we're in. After the first Braun Breaker spear, that kind of got a bit of internet traction within the base, we started making jokes about it. Like we were making like in memoriam shit for Carlito because that spear was so powerful that we basically started acting like it killed him. And Jet actually made this print. And it was, I think, because like he's shown me like other stuff he's made. Like he's shown me like ideas for if he were to ever start streaming, he's made like a couple like, you know, he's made a few scenes that he's shown me. And one of them at one point was this image of a black and white Carlito with basically text written that just says "Rest in Peace." Gives like a birth year of before Christ, and him like dying this year, and just said like he died from 1,000,000 Breaker spears. I printed that out, I think the night before, and I actually got Carlito to sign it. And then I essentially just I told him about our watch parties that we were doing at the beginning of the year. And I also told him about our running bit of Carlito being an avid PS5 defender, because in all of the Judgment Day segments, they were always playing on the PS5. It was always like, it was one of the WD2K games. It was always Carlito and with like Dom and JD, and we already had a lot of fun doing the Carlito impressions, so we just came up with this bit that Carlito gets really uber defensive when you talk shit about the PS5 to him, which was why the original idea for me was to bring my PS5 or like a PS5 controller to get him to sign it. But then I decided to go back on that just because like I don't want like the Sharpie or like whatever material to get damaged because of that. So I ended up settling on like, you know what, I can just print this. I had to go back in our DMs because it had been a while since he sent it to me. And that was a very well spent $60. I think the only thing I wish I did, it was like, I didn't show him Lou Carlito, which for anyone in chat that might not know, Lou Carlito is essentially a combination of Lucario and Carlito. So in other words, it's basically Lucario with an afro and like a goatee. He also holds an apple, or in the case of the print I made, a PS5 controller. And I was like, yeah, I kind of wish I showed him that, but it's also like I didn't know how much of Pokemon he knew. So I was like, I don't know if like, is he gonna understand this? You know, so it's like, it's whatever. He it was a nice little exchange. He ended it just being like, I'm glad that you guys got a lot of enjoyment out of my pain. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what wrestling is. But genuinely, I think when we were doing those watch parties, the Carlito as a PS5 defender bit was one of my favorites. That might be second to IWC Baby, but that's something that was an off-stream bit. Would have been on stream if the Wi-Fi in our area wasn't so dog shit at the time. But that's neither here or there. I guess also, like, I've been working on, like, an end of the year compilation, and I've actually, like, I went back and I'm adding some things from the WrestleMania watch parties into that compilation, just because I was like, you know what, this was something cool that we did this year. I want to give a little light to this, because I think the reaction to the double cross from Paul Heyman, which Spy predicted that he would turn on Punk and Reigns and side with Rollins, so that needs to be highlighted. I think I'm also adding reactions to the to Cena winning the title. Also, we sang Cody Raheem Rhodes, which that also needs to be highlighted on that video. But anyways, back to celebrities I met. I also met, well, I didn't actually meet them, but I actually got an autograph from Colleen O'Shaughnessy as well. This was my second time actually meeting her, and I actually got my photo op with her and Roger Craig Smith from my first Galaxy signed. That was $10 cheaper than getting the fucking Rip Carolina print. Which is just funny to think about. Like, it is really funny. But anyway, she and I talked for like 3 minutes. Basically just being like, hey, so it's been 3 years. I talked to you a little bit about like just Sonic's impact on me and all like the friends that I've made and continue to make because of that similar interest. And since also Crossworlds had been out, I basically got to tell her about that. I was just basically telling her how Crossworlds basically just stole me away, and it quickly became my most played game on my Steam account, which actually has competition with Balatro, because over the last couple weeks I kind of got back into it. And I think at this point right now, Balatro has more time in it, if I checked. 88.4. Yeah, Balatro has 1 more hour in it. That's just something that kind of just keeps going back and forth. But the point is, yeah, that game quickly became like my most played this year, cause that game is like fucking crack, bro. It was a really nice exchange we had. She was really happy to see that picture. You know, just because it's also like, again, this was 3 years ago, and it is a really nice. It was a really nice picture. And she was really happy to see that, like, I would come back and, like, show her that and be like, hey, would you be willing to sign this? So there's, like, it means a lot on both ends, you know? I actually wrote, Fly High and actually signed Tails before her name. And then I met another person. It was this is like an older, kind of obscure name. Not everyone's gonna know who this is, but they had a bit more of a presence like in the 80s. His name's Bobcat Goldthwait. He was the main villain in Police Academy 2. He's also done like a lot of he's done stand-up stuff. He's made his own movies. But most people know him from Police Academy. He was also, like, one of, like, Hades' minions in Hercules, the Disney movie. Played one of those guys. I don't remember his name. It was, like, the red one. Oh, wait. No. Wait, no. That was fucking... No. He was Hercules' mentor. I'm thinking of someone completely different. My bad. But I met him, and I actually got our DVD of One Crazy Summer signed by him, which he was also in. He played one of John Cusack's friends in that movie. And One Crazy Summer is basically like our family movie. Anytime someone pops that DVD in, we're basically all dropping what we're doing and we're all getting together to watch it. Because it's just a fun little summer movie. It's a feel-good kind of thing, you know? I basically got to tell him about that. I got a table picture with him too, which I immediately sent to my dad so he could basically gush about it. I was one of the lesser like busy people that weekend, which I mean, also to be fair, isn't like really surprising, just because he was like one of the more obscure names there, where like compared to somebody like Colleen, Jerry Traynor was there, who played Spencer on iCarly, Ben Schwartz was there. Fucking Matthew Lillard was there, and he was busy. Like, he was busy all fucking weekend, dude. That man could not catch a break. This man had 2 lines at his booth at all times. At all times. There was 1 line, which was the main line everybody had, in front of his booth. And then there was another one to the side, to his right, which was basically like facing all of the wrestlers. It was actually kind of fucking insane. He didn't have like the big booth that like Hayden Christensen from the Star Wars prequels had last year. Like, he just had like his regular small booth that like basically everyone else except like 2 people. But yeah, 2 of my friends actually waited in his line, actually got a picture with him. So I'm happy for them on that front, but it's just like, dude, I know Matt loves that shit, but I can't imagine like what it must have been like, because he still had like a wrapping line after the dealers closed on Sunday. Like, I went into the celebrity section when all of the stuff was closing, and they were basically wrapping up everything. There were only, I think, maybe 3 celebrities still there, and Matthew was definitely one of them. I don't know how long he stayed, but bro, it was like fucking crazy just how busy he was. Yeah, that was those 3 people I met. Actually no, I forgot. I met 5 people, and I brought up Ben Schwartz. Yeah, I got a picture with him. It was like one of the professional photo ops. It was more like I become more like I would just prefer to have like the table pictures just because of price. But in the case for Ben, I got his op mostly because I wasn't really willing to wait in his line. But it was the Saturday too. I realized that like he has nobody at his booth right now. Like, I literally could go up and ask if I wanted to. So I was just like, God damn it. Because like, it's just like, unfortunately, a lot of like that stuff is just like waiting for your moment to strike. Other people, it's like you didn't really have to worry about that. Like, honestly, the wrestlers you didn't have to worry about, you know. But to be fair, the wrestlers did not have it good at all. They were put like on the far back corner, like all the way at the back, and they were basically like facing one of the exits away from everything else. Like, the wrestlers got kind of shafted, I'm gonna be completely honest. I feel like more people saw them because they're waiting to see Matt. And it's not even like out of like a thing like, hey, I recognize you would like this thing from you. Just like, you know, that's where they're kind of getting some of the attention. But yeah, also Ben had the stuff on the Galaxy site. Ben had his stuff listed as like pre-purchased. So in my head I was like, I'm not going to be able to get any of this stuff because I didn't buy it online first. That was what I was saying in my head. Also, I will say I was a bit more willing to get Ben's photo op because he was cheaper than some of the other people that I wanted ops with. For example, his was $80. He was $5 cheaper than Jerry Trainer and Scott Steiner, who I also wanted an op with. Like, this guy has a much larger portfolio than some of these other people, and like they're still more expensive, which is just wild to me. It's like almost like kind of saving myself a bit of money on that front. But Anyways, the last celebrity that I met was actually Weird Al Yankovic. Because I got his autograph and I got a table picture with him, because the table picture actually comes free with the autograph if you go to his booth. I got my copy of The Grim Adventures of Billy Mandy, the arena fighter that came out on console like 2006. I have it on PS2. It was like, I think it was like my first ever fighting game ever, and kind of started getting me into the genre. It was like, it's such like an interesting first game on that front. But I had a lot of fun with it. It was basically the neighborhood classic with like my oldest group of friends. Like you don't know, like when we were like 6, like getting up there to like middle school, that was our game. It was a good time. But yeah, because Weird Al was actually the announcer in that game, and not only did it introduce me to fighting games and Grim Adventures, which admittedly I've still played more of the game than I've watched the show, and it's something that I kind of have to fix. Because like I've watched like maybe 3 episodes of Billy and Mandy. I remember liking it. I need to actually give it the full proper watch. But that game also introduced me to Weird Al, I'm pretty sure. And we talked for basically like a minute and a half about it, just kind of being like, hey, so it's like also I started going through his catalog this year, because I never did, and I'd only known like a handful of songs, like Dare to Be Stupid, Albuquerque, some of the other parodies too, like I Lost on Jeopardy, White and Nerdy, Amish Paradise. So like I've actually gone through and started like listening to more of his stuff, and I've basically got like over 30 songs on my playlist now. I've been having a lot of fun. Like, I didn't tell him, but he has been responsible for a lot of tonal whiplash on my car rides to school. Because I'll be listening to, like, a really sad, like, Neil Diamond song or something, and then it's immediately followed up with, like, White or Nerdy or something, like Christmas at Ground Zero. And then I'll have, like, something about, like, overcoming, like, drug addiction and abuse, which is just immediately followed up by Hardware Store. And it's like, this is not appropriate to just be coming out of. But yeah, it was good dude. He's coming back to my town in the summer. I want to see him, because I wanted to see him this year, because he came to town 3 months ago. He's someone I really want to see in concert, because his concerts are crazy fun from what I've seen. But we'll get there when we get there. So anyways, let's see what we did, because I still have all the stuff on my phone. Oh yeah, also I guess while I'm looking at these, going back to Bobcat, he was also doing stand-up. He did a stand-up show the next Saturday after the convention, and it was really good. I've seen like older bits of him doing stand-up, like in the 80s, and you could tell like he had stage fright, and he kind of made it a bit. Like some of the noises that he would make, that would basically just be like him screaming, and you would see it a lot in his movies, like this kind of the way he screams. Kind of made it part of his character, just because he had stage fright, and he still has it. Like, you could see just by the way that he kind of stutters and moves around. But, like, he is still like, I still think he's really funny. He had a lot of good stories. He told a story about the convention. Because, I guess he had someone on the autism spectrum come to his booth and it was like, "You're friends with Robin Williams, right?" I was like, "Yes." I was like, "You know he killed himself, right?" It was like, "So that's why he hasn't responded to my messages for 11 years." Like, completely, like, unaware. Like, the person asking him, like, has a little, you know, he is on the spectrum. And I was just like, him not even realize, I was just like, God damn it, why did I say that out loud? I thought it was really funny. Anyways, so I will say, they've had wrestling every time I've gone there. They've had FSCW, which is like the Fantasy Super Cosplay Wrestling, and it's always been a lot of fun. They had because the thing is like, I don't watch this other than when they come to the convention. Like, I'm never watching follow-up episodes, like when they do others, like when they go to other conventions, and just to see like what the championship status is. Because like, I'll go 1 year and like Star-Lord is the champion, and then like next year I'll come back and then Kingpin will be the champion, and like it's all completely like changing. I'm not following up, so it's just like all the characters are similar, but like the titles have changed like over and over again, and so it's like kind of interesting to see like how much, like, just to see like how it changes in like 12 months. But I will say, Galaxy, at least FSCW, has been infected with the 6-7, because the Spider-Verse was the root cause of those references being made. Most specifically, the Miles Morales Spider-Man, who was present all 3 days. So, for anyone that maybe doesn't watch wrestling, there's a spot that sometimes, like, if someone's like at the corner, they will like climb the ropes and basically like land a bunch of strikes at the person's head, and the crowd will basically count along with them as they keep punching them, and it'll like count up to 10. They did that, but once they got to 7, they stopped, and all of the good guys, the Spider-Verse, and also Black Panther was there, because I showed up in the middle of the show because I was doing something else. But they stopped at 7 and did the 6-7 motion, which basically like popped the young people in the crowd. And I think I was alone. And I think I just remember putting my hand in my face after I stopped recording it. So I was just like, God damn it. They did it again, too. It was Miles Morales again. Because Miles did the 5-knuckle shuffle, which we're going back to John Cena. Because like, this was a week before Cena officially retired. He did the 5-knuckle shuffle, but before he dropped it, instead of doing like the kind of like riggy motion with his hand that Cena always did, he did the 6-7, and they called it the 5-6-7 knuckle shuffle. And I'm like, bro, come on, really? This shit sucks. And then I actually ended up getting like an in-ring photo op with basically everyone. With basically all of the characters. Except 2. I don't remember Spider-Gwen was not there. But then again, there is a chance that one of the people could basically be playing 2 characters. Which I'm like, okay. That makes sense. But there was also someone else, but like I don't remember who it was. But I was also in a Fiend Bray Wyatt cosplay. Which is why I waited to get that. And Doylus basically came cosplayed as Minecraft Steve. Specifically Jack Black Steve. Because if you just throw like that shade of blue shirt on him, people will start calling him out as being Steve. Hey Witch. I would like to have me. I like being me. But thanks for asking. But the funny thing is like, cause Doylus, like I think the first time Doylus and I actually like hung out outside of game night, we went out to like this like outlet mall, and he was basically like wearing the shirt and jeans, and I was just like, dude, you look like Jack Black Steve. And like we were walking past like this group of kids, and like, even one of them called out, just being like, oh my god, he looks like Steve from Minecraft. And I was just like, yeah, so okay, so it's not just me, cool. But this time he actually came with the, like the backpack and the diamond sword and pickaxe. He actually got, like, I think there were at least 3 people that asked him if they could get a picture of him. Which is, like, for something that he kind of just, like, wears as an outfit, like, too, like, he's admitted that himself. I was like, yeah, that's cool as shit. Also, like, just considering that's, like, his first convention experience, he's kind of getting that attention. The thing, I will say though, he thought it was really funny because he did the 2 days because he works late the Friday. He came as the Steve on Saturday, and Sunday he dressed up as Hagrid. Nobody commented on his Hagrid cosplay. They only like, nobody recognized that he was dressed as Hagrid. But people definitely recognized the Steve. Which was funny to him. Because he also said that, like, he put a lot more effort into the Hagrid look. So it's like, nothing, it's like, it's whatever, though. What else? I'm trying to remember. There's this guy who's basically been at every galaxy that I've gone to. His name's Guy Hutchinson. He has a channel called Pointless Nostalgia, and it's basically just like kind of like showcasing off some like obscure shit from like mostly like the 80s. Like he has like at least 6 panels every time he's at Galaxy. And I will always go out of my way to see like at least 4 of them, because like this guy always has something that like I'm interested in. Like he has like a lot of interesting like stories from like the past, like related to pop culture. Like I'm looking on his thing right now. He has a video about Mac Tonight, VeggieTales, old like foods from like the 90s. Like, yeah, things from the supermarket that just vanished. Discontinued restaurant items. Yeah, he tackles a lot of stuff. And like he's also like he's really fun to listen to. I really should fucking subscribe to his channel. Like he does good work. Genuinely. Does like a lot of like he does like a lot of research in the shit that he does. And now I basically have his email now because I gave him like a newsletter basically. It's like this 5-page packet of shit of like stuff that he's like covered this week, stuff he's going to cover like the next week. And I basically, like, it comes with his YouTube and his other social media. I think it has his email on it. So, I now have a new contact if I ever want to start doing, like, documentary style shit. Or, like, if I have to do a presentation on something that I find interesting. And I have, I have a new source of information that isn't just, like, an article. Which is nice. Oh, wait. Ian, is that you? Did you change your... Yes, you did. I clicked on your name and I saw potato. That's all I need to say. Hey, Ian, how you doing? We're just telling convention stories as I stumble my way through, because I do not feel like I came prepared for this. I'm going to be completely honest. I kind of just got out of the shower and said, I want to stream. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, there's a channel I would recommend you guys. It's called Pointless Nostalgia. He, I guess, like, I guess I said, like, I did 4 of his panels. He did one of, like, old, like, just, like, different 80s sitcoms. Just pretend I'm playing Jackbox. I mean, you're asking me, at that point, you're asking me to be funny, which is preying on my downfall. Like, as soon as, like, someone asks me to be funny, dude, I am gonna flop. Like, that stuff comes out best when I'm just going through it. So, I'm looking through here. There is, he did a panel for, like, old theme parks. Like, he talked about, like, Hanna-Barbera Land, some other shit. Most specifically, I remembered Hanna-Barbera Land. I think there's, like, what was it called? Boardwalk and Baseball, which had these really terrifying mascots. There's, I guess, one Kids World that basically, the owner basically burned it down. That I thought was interesting. There's these, I don't know what this is, but this, all the mascots are, like, different acoustic instruments, and it is kind of terrifying. I'm not even gonna begin to try to pronounce that right. Yeah, he's talked about, like, a lot of shit. Like, he talked about, like, old food mascots. He had a panel about, bad Simpsons ripoffs, which is, like, I'm gonna be completely, like, I think he only ended up talking about, like, one actual ripoff. It was mostly just, like, going through, like, other sitcoms from the 90s, like King of the Hill and The Critic, that kind of spawned after The Simpsons, where I guess it's, like, he talked about stuff that was, like, kind of maybe, like, there's, like, an argument to be made that it's, like, a Simpsons ripoff, but there was only one actual Simpsons ripoff. And I'm trying to remember where it was from. I want to say it was, like, from Jordan. I'm trying. It's like, it was like a country that was like there was also like a common first name. I want to say it was from Jordan. I don't even remember the name of it, but I also remember, like, he's told, like, he has family from wherever it was from, and people, and, like, and he knows other people that have been there, and it's like, everything that is in that country is the inverse of what we have, and it scares the shit out of them. That was that. I'm trying to, God, I am, like, am I really, am I, like, forgotten everything I did? Like, I'm trying to remember all these panels. I went to like, a cartoon trivia panel, and, that panel was flawly, wasn't run in the greatest way because they had questions that they were not confident were the right answers. So there was like at least 2 answers that they had to be corrected on. Cause like it was like something like where they hadn't like watched all of the shows that they were asking questions about, which I object to. I feel like I'm not like because like there's like so much shit, especially like it's like that stuff went back to the 80s was kind of what the panel was covering. Where it's like where like if you're like asking like more specific questions about like a show's plot point, you should know, like you should do the very least and watch it, you know. I'm sorry. I've been completely looking down at the floor as I've been talking, either at the floor or my phone as I'm like going through like my library of photos and videos, trying to remind myself what I did. There was one thing I remembered they talked about. There was like this. It was like a Muppets traffic safety kind of ride that. It was like I'm trying to describe it. Like I guess like a kiddie roller coaster, if that makes any sense. That basically worked. It was like as like Muppet characters basically teaching traffic safety. And it was like from what I remember, if I remember this correctly, the first time he talked about it, like, that whole attraction basically became lost media. And, like, whatever, like, exists of it was the stuff that he had. Which was, like, in the presentation for it. No, you're absolutely right about that. Also, but, I mean, does it make a difference considering that this was like 90s Muppets? I don't know how much. I don't know if they've changed in 20 years. But this is like, that's kind of like where it was at. I think this was like, I want to say it was like post Jim Henson's death that was made. Like very short after, like I don't fucking know, bro. My brain is cooked right now and I don't know why. What else did we do? I guess I can talk about this also because Ian's here. I did a drunk Tetris. I actually got to play Tetris at a panel against a person, and I actually 2-0'd the guy. It was Tetris Effect, and it was basically, if you won, you basically got a drink ticket. You basically just get, like, a drink for free if you win. You just gotta present ID. But, being me, because I don't drink, like, I'm not at the point yet where I've really warmed up to like beer, alcohol. There's only 2 alcoholic drinks that I recall liking, and it is pink lemonade vodka and rum swizzle. Those are like the only 2. Like, there's like, I don't really like straight like beer. Like, I'm not like a Bud Light, Miller, Dos Equis kind of guy. I can't stand IPAs. Even though my dad loves them. IPAs just taste toxic to me. They smell toxic too. I am trying... See, like, the thing is... I didn't end up taking the ticket, and I basically just gave mine away to one of the other people that came up after me. I realized as soon as I did that, and I left after I played just because there was another panel going on at the same time that I wanted to see. I realized I should have taken the ticket because my brother, he'll have like a drink every so often, but his friends, who are much more drinkers than he is, would have absolutely loved a free drink ticket. I'm just saying. Like, I would, if I have to present my ID just to get that, that's fine, you know. Because there's always, you know, you can't know, like, if I'm, like, telling the truth about it. But, like, I have no problem showing ID to get the ticket, but, like, I would just still give it to my brother or one of his friends. I imagine that they would probably fight over it. And I think that would be really funny if that happened. But I also, the next night, I saw Drunk Mario Kart. I didn't play because I don't drink, and it's that thing of like, I'm not willing for it. So it was just basically the idea, I think, it's just, you gotta finish your beer before you finish the race. Or like whatever alcoholic drink you've got. And we basically, like, because I was sitting with Biggie and Doyless, and we all basically looked at each other, was like, so yeah, we all know, like, the way to do this optimally is basically do the race before you take a sip, and then right before you finish, basically down the whole thing, right? Assuming that you're not going to have to be, like, spending the next 30 minutes pissing every 5 minutes. Right? At least that's how we thought of it. Unless you're doing like a rule like where you have to like take at least like some kind of consumption of it first. But I remember that not being a rule. The only rule I remember was you had to finish your drink before the race. That was it. What else was there? I saw karaoke, which was fun. I went there Saturday. I walked in on this big dude singing Bodies by Drowned Pool, and that dude had a voice. He had a really good voice for it. People, like, everybody was into it. Like, I would fully, like, sing along. Like, dude, this guy can fucking... Pitched Casket. Okay. Once again, shoutouts to Saribot for keeping us all safe here. That's my goat right there. Ah, shit. You know, Ian, before I get on, because you said it, who's the first and second funniest that I'm basically behind on as far as the funny? If you don't mind me asking. Because I'm actually kind of curious. I can assume one of them. Like, I'm confident I could name one of them at least, but the other one I'm not entirely sure. I might have a hunch, but... Ugh. But anyways, I guess kind of getting back to the convention. I thought Dealers was cool. I talked about it a little bit before, but they had I got a couple things from there. Kind of going back, I spent about like $300 on celebrity stuff, and I spent about $200 on like dealers. Maybe 150. Oh, I'm just because I'm also like I'm trying to take in like how much I spent for food and stuff. I bought a wood carved LED knuckles that is hanging right next to me, and it functions the same way as my one of the other LED lights I have in my room. Has this little remote that I can kind of just change the color of. It's just has the little fade in, just goes from red, orange, all that, cycles through every color. It looks really nice with the tree as well. That was $45. That was that one was like I was going back and forth between the Knuckles and the Sonic, just because they both looked really good. But it's also, I think I ended up going with the Knuckles just because it's like, okay, I think I have like enough Sonic stuff. I need to kind of give some. I need stuff for like the other characters, you know. So like I got this. I got a print of Metal Sonic that looks so dope. And I just hung it up in my room earlier today. Just because, like, I realized, like, I have, like, more than 5 pieces of art that I've kind of just had laying in the corner of my room for, like, 7 months. At least. There's been stuff that's been sitting, like, in that, either in that corner or in my closet since my first or second Galaxy, and I have not done anything with it, basically. I've just, and now I've given them their little place. I need to hang, there's like 3 more I need to hang. I basically, 2 of them are like little like paper prints that I can just easily put Scotch tape on. The other one is like a really bigger one that like I can't tape it just because like, it's also like it's a bit heavier, so the Scotch tape isn't gonna do it. I'm basically gonna have to like make a frame with like 4 thumbtacks and basically rest them on there. Which I'll probably just do that tomorrow. I'm not really doing anything tomorrow. There's this other guy that I've been buying from the last 3 years since I found him. I've talked about him before on stream, but he makes twisted wire art of a bunch of different pop culture characters. He's the guy that made the Guile and the Lucario ones that I have now, and I bought a Xenomorph from Alien from him this year, just because I was like, there's like a lot of stuff here. It's like I feel like that, like, they all look good. Don't get me wrong. Like I would absolutely buy one, but it's also like these are like kind of characters that I don't like resonate with. Like the Guile and the Lucario ones were easy buys for me those years I got them, because Guile was the only fighting game character that he had, and I wanted to snag that, just because like you know me, I like my fightings. I like Street Fighter. I enjoy Guile. I don't play him as much as someone like Ken, but I'll still play him every so often. Cody Rhodes is playing him in the movie, so I was like, yeah, of course. Like I'll absolutely buy Guile. And then Lucario just basically became my favorite Pokemon and also kind of like a comfort character for me. And then it's just like I'm more based off like what did I think looked the coolest, and also like, you know, what was a bit cheaper. It was still $25, but I still got it, you know. It was still a worthwhile purchase, but I felt like I was more buying out of like a feeling of obligation, if that makes sense. Not saying I regret buying at all, but I was more doing it because like I've bought from him every year and I want to continue doing that. Like this guy like absolutely deserves all the support he can get, but I think for like the stuff that he had for me personally, it's just like stuff I didn't like gravitate towards. I almost walked out with like maybe like an Iron Man. I almost walked out with a Punisher, but that's more just because I started playing Marvel Rivals this year, and Punisher is basically my main. And I would have just been doing it for that reason alone. And like that wasn't good enough for me. But it's fine. Like I'm still like again, I don't regret buying Xenomorph at all, but I don't know, maybe I don't know. Still, it was still a good purchase. That's what matters. I got this, I got another print of this really pretty underwater cavern that looked really sick, and I ended up snagging the last one he had. And, yeah, I $25 for it, which is like, oh yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. And I actually saved myself $2 because I paid in cash. Because I was initially just going to do credit card, but his thing was having problems reading my card for some reason. So I almost walked off before I got the actual confirmation that the purchase and like transaction went through. So like I was like, okay, good. So it's like you know, I'll save both of us the time and the trouble. I'll just pay with cash since I have it on me. And I saved myself $2 because of it. That's why I like I am very much a like pay with card guy. But when it comes to conventions, I would so much rather pay with cash than do a card. Just because of like, you know, you gotta pay like a little bit more for the transaction. Where like in cash you're just like paying the flat rate of like what they're charging you. You know? I think like the only thing that I really paid card with that I kind of regret, I mean, well, for the photo ops, you don't really have a choice. That's kind of just what they take. Weird Al, I paid with card just because it was like all of the, at that point in time when I wanted to see, like when I kind of just wanted to see, all of the ATMs were either busted or like had like some other problem where like they're like low on cash inside. So I decided to be like, I went up to his booth and I just asked the assistant, hey, so like by chance you guys take card? And it was like, yeah. It was like, because I saw the little card reader on the table, and the person even told me like, if you want, like if you give Alan his assistant like 30 seconds, they'll be ready for you. I'm like, wait, he's here? Like, yeah, like he's here right now. Just like give him like a second, and then you can go and get your thing. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, because this was like 11:30 at a.m. on Sunday, so it's like people are still kind of coming in. Dealers has been like open for like an hour, like hour and a half, whatever. But it was good. It was just like I was really surprised because like I just, you know, because not all of the celebrities were there at that point. And like, and Al is one of those people who, like, he's also like busy all day. So like this was like I just got lucky with the timing. And I was like, that's basically the reason, because like there were like 4 people, no, there were 5 people. I got 4 of them, and Al was able to be one of them that I basically got something from. I'm trying to remember other panels. I did see the Bobcat Q&A. He talked a bit. I'm trying to remember specific stories, just like stuff that he's worked on personally, that like he's directed. Just like kind of talking about like him kind of getting put in like comedy prison, as he called it. I don't fucking remember shit, dude. I'm gonna be so real. I'm either gonna want to kill the stream immediately or just do something else as soon as I get all the stuff from Galaxy that I got. Anyways, after that, so I guess so I talked about dealers a little bit. Let's talk about the game room. So, there was barely, like, I mean, the arcades at the Galaxy have been, like, they've been, like, really small. But this one was just like, dude, this just fucking sucks. You had, like, 5 machines. And 2 of them were Brawlhalla, which was basically, like, they were just, like, custom machines, just put whatever you want on them. It was Brawlhalla all weekend for them. It's just like, I mean, like, I haven't played Brawlhalla, I don't really care about it. It's just like, man, I wish there was more variety. Like the arcade in Galaxy last year was small too, but you had like other like really good shit. Like you had Grandmaster Tetris, you had Marvel 2, you had fucking Dong Dong Never Die, just this really fucking weird ass game where Mario's in it and he does a raging demon with a bunch of like actual like other like real fucking actors doing it. It's like, it's basically like made the same way like the first 3 Mortal Kombats were made, with like actual fucking actors doing the stuff. But it's such a goofy fighter. They had like some racing game. They actually had like one of the 3D Gauntlet games. They had a rhythm game. That was it. The rest of it was like all console stuff, which I think they had a better variety. Like a lot of the stuff there, I just remember being like PS4s and 5s, maybe an Xbox if you were lucky. But they had a bit more. Like it was still like, don't get me wrong, they still had like their fair share of PS5s and Xboxes. But they had a PS3. I think they had like 2 or 3 of them. One of them had Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on it, and I was all over that. The other one had Infamous on it. They also had a good amount of PC setups, some of which had like TF2 and Left 4 Dead on them. And other ones that had like 5 Nights at Freddy's. Trying to think. They had a couple Wii U's, which surprised me. Like a good amount of Wii U's. Like they had Pokken Tournament on some of them. They had Smash for Wii U on a couple. I actually got to play that again after a while. Played that with Biggie and Doyless and another dude that wanted to hop in. And I still got it. Me and my unironic Wii Fit trainer playing ass. But there was like, I'm thinking, I'm comparing this to last year too. Like, cause the gaming area had like a stage, and they had like events going on for it. Like they had like little game tournaments up there. And the one 2 years ago had this as well. But it's just like, this, like, I just felt like the convention, like, at least for the gaming thing, it was a bit lacking compared to what it was the year before and 2 years ago. I don't really think they had, like, any gaming guests. They had, like, this little, there's another, like, gaming expo that was basically advertising there. And they had, like, this little sound. With Where it's like, remember like those old commercials from like 80s and 90s in the video games where like the kids looked like they were like actually like in the game. They basically had that there, where like you were basically like on the TV, like in the middle of Streets of Rage 2. It was really cool. I poked in it. It was neat. I should have sent it. I should have sent it to Rock. I realized like, it's such a horribly missed opportunity. They had a couple claw machines, which there wasn't any of. But I'm like, also like, I don't really give a fuck about claw machines. That was like the one addition that they had. They had the Guitar Hero setups, which yeah, that had lines all weekend too. I have one video of, because like people would like just stand there and listen. There was this dude in a Patrick Star inflatable who was basically like mosh pitting at the. He was basically like cheering and dancing along, and then like if there was someone else, like he would be like mosh pitting with the guy, and it was really funny because this was like right in front of our like Wii U setup. We were playing Smash. I will say, and this is another criticism that I have towards like the layout of the convention. Why does the gaming area have like 20 times more space to move around in than the dealers and the celebrities? Make that make sense. Because Galaxy had this problem last year too. Though I don't think, as far as like the gaming area, it wasn't as much of a problem because All Elite Wrestling had like just basically moved into where the center was going to be. Like this was like a very like kind of last minute thing. This was like, because they were already going to be in my city before like they merged together. They were gonna be at another arena like that's just like a walk down to. But they decided to move into the convention center, and it was just like you pay like $30 to get a wristband, and then you can go watch. It was fun. It was a nice little thing. I'd never been to AEW before. Never really watched. But it was a good time. I didn't see, because AEW and Ring of Honor actually were at the convention this year. I didn't see either of them. And part of it was just like I didn't get a wristband. Like I thought like it was something that you had to pre-purchase and you couldn't do it there, so that kind of like was something that turned me off. But then again, I also didn't bother to ask. But it's also, I was also a bit more okay with not seeing it, simply because I had stuff both of those nights that they were doing it that I still wanted to do. And it was just like, I don't know if this is something I want to miss because of wrestling, and it's gonna be like 2-3 hours. And it's like, nah, it's fine. I'll miss it this year. Also, another thing, something that really bothered me. If you wanted to like go like check in for your like ticket, your wristband, whatever it was that they had you have, I think it was a wristband. It was all the way on the other side of the center. So to put it into perspective, so you got like two far ends, right? All of the registration stuff is on like as far left as it can be. And the wrestling stuff is as far on the right side as it can be. Very inconvenient. That like, because like if you're just wanting to go like right before the show starts, you have to take that full walk and then wait in a big ass line and then walk all the way back. It's just that kind of just didn't really make any sense. Like, just have somebody there, like at the security, like going to check in people, and it's like just it's what they did last year, like, cause like they would have people like at the door like of the arena, which was like right next to the gaming area, which I will say, like, even though it was just like a giant black curtain, it did great for like blocking out all of like the noise. But I feel like every good thing that Galaxy's been doing, like previous years, they just end up doing the opposite and just making it worse the next. As shown with no change to how the actual con floor is laid out. Like, I did not have a problem at all with the layouts of the 22 and 23 galaxies. 24 and 25 I had big problems with because it just became such a massive clutter and everything was so poorly spaced out that stuff is just like, it was near impossible to maneuver through and to like get to a person that you want to. Because multiple lines would cap. And then you would basically like have to like walk through those people to get to where you needed to be. Who the hell pinged me? Oh, okay. I was just looking at pings. Anyway, it was something that really, it's just kind of really bothered me because I'm just like, man, like I want to like enjoy these a lot more, but it's just the issue of like every good thing you do, you just end up doing it worse the next year. Cause I'm genuinely trying to think. I just did not have a problem with the first two galaxies I went to. Everything was laid out well. I think the 23 galaxy had the best layout as far as the con floor. I think everything had like an appropriate amount of space. All of the celebrities had like a place to be seen. Like you weren't gonna miss anybody. I think it's just I think the only issue I had was like when the con floor closed, you had to cut and like the wrestling was still going on. You had to cut through the arcade, which you had to show your con pass to. Like you couldn't walk on the like the end of like it, where it would be a lot more convenient. Because you know staff could be like really uppity about that kind of stuff. But it really bothers me like how they've been laying out. Like it's created so much crush with people. Like I remember last year was such a pain in the ass to try to move through. And I don't remember it being as bad, but it was still kind of not good. It really did bother me that the game room had so much more space. It was easier to walk through than dealers. Like, the dealers and the celebrities, like, needs that space. That was kind of lost these last 2 years. Like, there was nothing wrong with the layouts of the first 2 cons. It's like, I don't understand why they changed it. Because this year, I would say, like, if you were a pro wrestler, you got screwed. You saw nobody that whole weekend. The only way you're seeing people is if you're looking at someone that's waiting to see Matthew Lillard. It was just, and Matt's line is just like a perfect testament to how poorly laid out it was. Because, like, you can't have, like, his whole line, like, blocking. Because, like, you're going to be, like, his line was so big, it would be bleeding into other people's. So you had to, like, put him on to, like, to the right side. But then you had, like, freaking Kevin Smith, who was there 2023. And his was, like, on, like, the far, like, the furthest, like, he's, like, pinned against the wall. Like, he was, like, put up against the wall. And he wouldn't be bleeding into anyone's spots. It's almost like Matt needed what Hayden Christensen had last year. As I try to remember everything else I did. I didn't really see Biggie or Doyless that much. We kind of just texted each other, just checking in, but it's like, we mostly spent the weekend kind of just doing our own things. I did a pro wrestling trivia panel. I didn't get any just because everyone else was faster than me. Also, to be fair, there's like there's like a decent amount of stuff that I wouldn't have known because, you know, this is the problem. Like, this is why you need to watch more stuff than WWE. Like, don't be like me. Branch out, cast a wider net. God, I'm struggling, dude. I am struggling like crazy. Oh, I remember. There was another panel that basically, like, covered a bunch of stuff that has recently become public domain or is going to be public domain within the next few years. So, like, a lot of, like, other old, like kind of like some Disney characters is, like, the big example. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is going to be public domain soon, which means we're going to be getting a lot more horror movies. So, looking through, I didn't really take a lot. One thing I did see, there was, like, a rock, paper, scissors tournament, which was just, like, every 2 out of 3, and I don't remember how many people turned up for it, just because I showed up, like, at the tail end because I was doing something else. But it was, like, 2 out of 3s and 3 out of 5s for, like, just rock, paper, scissors, and it was like, really, really hype. I just remember it being, especially when we got to the finals. It was a really fun, it was a very campy panel. I'm starting to, like, other than, like, the Ultimate Cartoon Trivia, I just don't. One thing I felt with Galaxy this year is, like, there was, at least from what I remember seeing, there was just a complete lack of, like, community panels. And, like, I mean that for, like, people like submitting panels to actually do at the convention. Because the Ultimate Trivia is like the only one I think was one of those, at least that I saw. I can't think of anything else because like everything was like either like guest speakers that were announced for the convention, or just like other general like GalaxyCon staff. Or there were like other like paid workshops, which they've had those, I think, every year Galaxy's been in my city, but I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. I guess I can't really think of anything else, at least for like my experience. So I guess now we can talk about why Galaxy this year was particularly problematic. So this is the best way that I can put it. If you were a person with a disability, you were basically not allowed to exist. So for context, the last 2 years, Galaxy has had security. Like, they've had, like, actual, like, security systems, like, people that walk in through the center. Like, they have, like, people checking bags, they have metal detectors and all that jazz. And it's not just something that's been at the convention center, because I went to Mitsuri at the end of August earlier this year, and they were not there. But they have been the last 2 Galaxies, and I think like a lot of that just comes from like the bigger turnouts that they've had. Whereas like last year I thought it would have been just because of the wrestling. But that was just a thing that was there all weekend. And I would imagine it's going to stay a staple. Now, people with the disabilities, they were not treated well by security at all. There were stories of someone having their cane that they need to walk zip tied. There was also another story of people having EpiPens confiscated. And there was just other general just stories of just security being very unprofessional, which I had no run-ins, no personal issues with any of the security, but I did feel like that there was like some kind of unprofessionalism reeking in there. Like, it was just something like, I feel like there's going to be a problem with security at some point this weekend, and that hunch ended up being correct. It was not to the extent that I thought it was. Like, there was like some straight up illegal shit done by security. And it sparked some outrage with the guests, like, obviously, completely understandably. And it got to the point where the official GalaxyCon actually made a statement about it, basically saying that they were disgusted that this was allowed to happen by, because the security wasn't hired by the convention itself, it was hired by the convention center. And I think the thing, and like some people don't buy like Galaxy's statement because they highlight those stories, but they also highlight security being unprofessional with other galaxy higher ups that were there that weekend. So some people are kind of suspicious of it, just being like, hey, so are you only making this statement because people in your party were directly involved with it? Or would you still be making a statement if, like, someone that's like not in charge of you basically got affected by it? Would you have not said anything? Would you have tried sweeping it under if it was only like the general like guess, like the general con goers, which I think is a completely fair kind of suspicion to have about it. It's definitely not the first time we would have seen it like that, you know. But it was just something that was you when you look at the comments, it's just like there are a lot of people saying that they are not attending Galaxy ever again. There are people that have said like this was my first and last Galaxy, and I even heard like I was chatting with the two people that actually got the picture with Matthew Lillard that weekend. One of them said like they might not go next year because of what happened this year, which is completely understandable. Like, I will say, even though I have had fun every year, like these last 2 years Galaxy has gotten significantly worse. I would say 2023 was the best one, and this, like, from my own experience, I would still probably put 24 over this one, but objectively speaking, this was a much worse Galaxy. And if I'm, like I said at the beginning, this is something that I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if it did not come back next year, even though they did announce, like I heard, like at the end of the public domain panel, like we'll see you again next year, like the first weekend of December, whatever the fuck. Because I think they already announced the dates for it, I have to look. But I would definitely anticipate a much lower turnout. I don't know what the deal with like security is going to be in the future. What I would like to happen is that they just completely forgo with it, because that's basically the case for those first two that I did. There just was like no like security, basically, like you had to go through. It was a very, like, I can imagine just like how bad of an experience it could have been, like some people could have had. It's such a shame too. Because I want to be able to enjoy these better. I want to, you know, support it while not like feeling shitty about it, if that makes sense. Because like I'm not gonna know like what it's gonna be like until it happens, right? That's the thing. So it's like you're gambling on that. And like, yeah, I can still have a good time and meet some awesome people that I've maybe like looked up to, used to watch as a kid. I've done it all 4 years. Yeah, it just sucks. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I feel like I should just call stream right here, honestly. I am struggling I don't know. I don't really feel like I was like mentally. I don't really feel like I'm still like was like mentally there right now to do this. So I am just gonna call it. I got everything that I wanted to say out, at least from memory, that I did there. It's just like I feel like maybe that could say like this was a bit more of like an insignificant con, but like I'm genuinely struggling to remember stuff that I did in like a bit more detail compared to like other years. Anyways, I suppose we can find somebody to raid now, so I will get that poll up. I appreciate y'all who stuck around just bearing with me through this as I fumble my way through talking about a convention. But I don't know. I didn't think I was gonna struggle like this, but no, we still got through a stream. Also, hello, Tud. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. So I'm getting ready for the poll. All right, so there's 4 people that we can do tonight. We've got Anton Blast, Mega Man Battle Network, Super Mario 64, and London 2012 Mario and Sonic Olympics. You have 1 minute. You can vote on who you would like to see, while I try to find a song to rate out with. And I think I already found one. I think this is one that doesn't really get played a lot. We're gonna step out of the vaporwave for a little bit. We're gonna play a song from Kirby's Epic Yarn. We're gonna play the Cloud Palace as I wait for this poll to finish. But thank you guys so much for hanging out, listening. Thank you for putting up with my scatterbrainness tonight. Mega Man Battle Network? Cool. So that means we are gonna be rating Aurora tonight. I played Crossworlds with her a while back, so it'll be nice to see her again. But anyways, I don't know when I'm gonna stream next, but I promise I will do my damnedest to not be I will do my best to not struggle through talking through it, is the best I can say. 'Cause fucking hell, this was not easy for me. And I do not know why. But whatever. It is what it is. Still appreciate you being here regardless. Anyways, so I'm gonna get that raid set up in a little bit. Have fun over at Aurora's. Enjoy listening to Cloud Palace from Kirby's Epic Yarn. thank you for everything, basically. Anyways, you guys take it easy, treat yourselves nice, and I will see you whenever I see you next. Good night and goodbye.